tomorrow, episode 5 apparently. It's only been 5 episodes. The Satanist or the Satanist Apprentice. Woo! And I was very much looking forward to this episode because this was the Astra episode when the season opener happened and we found out that Astra was gonna leave the ship to to live her new life. I was a little bummed out by that because I'm like I really liked her character. And I was just like she should have stayed. So, but it turns out that she is gonna be recurring and she's not we didn't lose her forever. But this episode does dive into what she's been up to for the previous 5 episodes, apparently. And this is kind of cool because, again, she's reintroducing herself to the world because she was trapped in hell for a couple of years. And, now that she's back into the world, it's not going the way that she thought it would. Let's just say that, she's because like when she was in hell, she had to fight her way, into the criminal underworld, and then she became like a queen and a boss of like this club or whatever, and then she had all these souls in her possession, and like a lot of people feared her, and she was known as the soul collector, and like she had that fate person on her side, so there was a lot going on. So she was basically the BOSS, but now she's starting over from the beginning. She's starting over from scratch. And she's learning that she just can't get whatever she wants when she wants. Like she needs money for food. She doesn't have internet. She can't afford a cab ride. She got splashed by somebody, like a car splashed on her, and there was nothing she could do about it. Like she can't like banish people to the depths of hell. Like she can't like use like blood pools. She can't use torture for people. So she actually literally just has to fit into the rules of society, and that's not. And again, and it's not going very well for her. She keeps trying to get John to help her out. She's asking Constantine for advice because after all, I mean, it is his house. So she was just like, bro, like where the internet at? She was just like, how come you don't have food? She was just, like she was trying to get him to do, because she's like, I don't got a job. She's like, I don't even have a social security number, so I can't do anything. She's like, I need you to kind of help me. And John's been kind of like blowing her off. And the thing about her being blown off by John is like, we see the moments where he was ignoring her being taken throughout the course of the previous like 3 or 4 episodes. Like, you see John when he's like doing the whole thing with the alien that was trapped in the machine, where he was trying to come up with a spell for that, and then she tried to ask him for something, and then he was just like, oh, he's like, hold on, love, I got something to do. And then we saw the whole thing with the burger slime and everything, with the people going crazy. We saw the episode where Zari did, like the whole like American Idol thing where he had the leather jacket on, and then he just kept coming in, coming out, coming in, coming out. And then the whole time she was trying to talk to him. So we get to see what she's been doing during these Legends missions. And like I said, he kind of just like ignored her the whole time, and then she got upset. So she ends up like going around his house because she reached the point where she's like, yo, if he don't want to help me, I'm just going to like steal all his possessions and I'm just going to start selling his shit to get money to do the things that I want to do. When she was in the attic, she came across a painting, and there was apparently like there was a man trapped in a painting. And he was just like, oh, like John Constantine, like he's been so horrible to you. He's like, I understand, dearie. He's been mean to me too. He trapped me in this painting. And then, she was just like, yeah, she was like, he was supposed to teach me how to survive in the real world, but he's too busy and he doesn't have time to teach me. And he's like, well, I can do it, love. I can show you how to use magic. Because Astra's whole thing was she didn't want to start over from scratch. She actually wanted to use magic to take shortcuts to get what she wanted. But the guy in the painting, he was like, oh, I can teach you magic, love. He's just like, just stick with me. So, he preyed on like, her vulnerability, and then she trusted him, and then he started teaching her some spells. So he got her to use this one spell specifically where you could transfer one person's like body into another. And she used that spell on Constantine because when Constantine came in the house and saw that she was being taught by the guy in the painting, he was like, what are you doing with him? He's supposed to be locked in the painting, love. And then she was just like, oh, but he's been teaching me how to do things that you wouldn't, John. And he's just like, oh, so he grabbed the painting. He's just like, Astra, stay away from him. This man is dangerous. And then she used the Permuto spell and she switched John, with the guy in the painting. So now the guy in the painting, so now John's trapped in the painting. The guy, he's just like, oh, I'm finally free, Constantine. And like, how do you like them apples? And, like they put John Constantine like in the attic, and then he goes to teach Astra some more magic. So while he's teaching her magic, they got to a point where, because she's a beginner and she's just learning magic, all the spells that she did, they didn't hold. Like she would do a spell to create money, but it wouldn't last for very long. And my whole thing was, I was like, if there's a time limit on this magic, you might as well just take like all this garbage, turn it into jewels, and sell that shit quick before it turns back into trash. Because like once you sell it, like it's not your problem anymore. But she was just like, oh, she's like, how do I get my magic to last? And then he was just like, you got to rank up, you got to become more powerful. So he said that he said I can come up with an amulet that will enhance and increase like your magical powers. But the only thing about it is, you need a soul in order to power the amulet. Earlier in the episode, when Astra was walking home after being drenched by that car, she bumped into one of Constantine's neighbors, who was this old racist British white guy that saw a beautiful, tall, attractive black woman going up to Constantine's house. So he automatically assumed that she was the maid. And when she told him, she was like, "No, I'm not the help." She was like, "I'm actually, I live here." He was like, "Oh, that can't be." And then she was like, "Why? Because I'm black? Because I'm a woman?" You know. And then he was just like, "Oh, I never." And then he walked away. You know. So because of his racism, you know, like towards her, she targeted him as the soul. She called the guy. She was just like, "Oh, why don't you come over and let's talk?" She was like, "Because I have a lamp." She's like, "I have some expensive lamp that I want to sell to you," because he did mention that he was a collector of lamps. So while she's waiting for him to come over so she could take his soul, the legends show up. Because we remember in the last episode, the legends, they gave the wave rider to Mick, so Mick and Gary's ex-fiance can go find Sara. So the legends didn't have a place to live, so they were just like, "Oh, we'll go stay at Constantine's house." So we reached the moment where they find Constantine's house and all the legends show up. Now Asher is just like, "Uh-oh," because I'm about to go snatch this dude's soul. And then here you guys come, you know, like you guys all come busting in, and she's like, "You're kind of like ruining what I'm doing now." And then everybody was just like, "Oh, how come you don't have food? How come you don't have internet? Like, where's the shower? This, that, and the third." And then she kind of got overwhelmed with everybody asking her 50 million things at once. And then she just used the Prometheus spell, and she switched all the legends into like random like kitchen objects. You know, like they ironically turned Spooner into a fork. You know, like Nate was cheese, Bayrod was a candle, Zari was a flip phone. And I thought that was funny because the whole thing about it is like everybody's freaking out over the fact that like they just got transformed into random objects. And Zara's the only one that's like, "Am I a flip phone?" Like she was more offended by that than being turned into something at all. Ava was a book. And they were all just like these random objects. And then she took all of them and she threw them in the closet because she was just like, you know, like, "You guys are going to ruin what I'm doing." And then they were just like, and then Bayrod was like, "Are you trying to steal somebody's soul?" He was just like, "Come on, Astra." He was like, you know, you could tell Bayrod liked the girl. Because Astra told Bayrod, she was just like, "Oh, you know, who cares about this guy? His soul is going to hell anyway." And then Bayrod was like, "I'm not worried about his soul. I'm worried about yours." You know, but so she put all them in the closet, and then the guy came over, the racist guy came over. She showed him the lamp. And then while he was looking at the lamp, she was going to use the magic spell to basically like trap his soul. And then she got like right there. And then at the last second, you know, because Ava was just like, "Please think about what you're doing." And then like the legends got to her and she felt bad. And then she was just like, you know what? She grabbed the guy. She was like, "Yo, just get out of the house." She was just like, "Yo, forget the lamp. Just get out of the house." And then before she threw him out of the house, the dude who's no longer in the painting, he snatched the amulet from her. He tapped it to the guy's head, and then he sucked out his soul, and he put the amulet on himself so he can get the unlimited power. So then when Astra tried to put him back in the painting, it didn't work now because he has the amulet. And he was just like, "I'm too powerful now, dearie." And then this was the part where things got weird. So when he was just like, "Oh, I'm too powerful for you now, dear," he used this magic spell and turned her into a Disney princess. And I thought that shit was funny as hell. It was awkward and it was funny. And then he turned the entire show into a Disney movie. It was obvious that the legends were supposed to represent items in the Beauty and the Beast movie. So I thought that was funny. They did everything but say, "Be my guest." So, you know, and then Astra started singing everywhere and she was dancing. And then she was just like, "Oh no, you know, like this guy's taking over. What am I supposed to do?" And then she went into the attic, and then Constantine was just like, "Well, judging by the fact that we're in a cartoon now," he's like, "I guess things didn't go well with your new, with your boy." She was just like, "Yeah, but you ignored me, John." And, you know, she was just like, "I was hurt." And then he apologized. He was just like, "Yeah," he's like, "You know, I didn't realize how hard of a time you were having as far as like fitting into the real world." And he said, "I'm sorry I kind of like ignored you," but he said that we got to make this right. So she was like, "How do I get to strip him of his power, John?" And then they found her mom's old like diary in the attic, and Astra had found it before, and her mom had written musical notes into the book, and Astra couldn't read it because she can't read music. But then because she's a Disney princess now, and like Constantine said, all Disney princesses could sing, she ended up, you know, being able to read the notes. She sang the song because Constantine told her that song that you see there, it's actually a spell that your mom created that was designed to take away magic powers. He was like, so if you sing that song towards that guy, it will remove his powers and put everything back to normal. So she sings the song. It was all very beautiful and lovely, and there were birds and blah, blah, blah. She sings the song. The guy loses his power. He goes back into the painting. Everything gets turned back into normal, and all the legends, you know, like they're back to normal and everything's fine. And now we're back into the human world, and we're no longer trapped in the cartoon. You know, so then after that, you know, like Astra, you know, she apologized, and then everybody's like, you know, it's cool, don't worry about it. And then Spooner was like, why did I turn into a fork? And now like the search for Sara, well, not the search for Sara because Mick's doing that, but now the legends are trying to pull themselves back together so they can continue the search to try to find these aliens that are being spread out all over time. One thing that Constantine did say to Astra was, unfortunately, because she used that spell, not only did it take away the power of the guy in the painting, but it also took away Constantine's power as well. So he said that your mom designed that spell on purpose to stop me in case I ever went too far. And we thought we'd never have to use it, but now that you used it, he was like, I don't have my power either. So he said that since I don't have my powers anymore, and I have to start over from scratch, and I have to learn how to be a magician from scratch, he said, why don't you just learn with me, and the two of us can learn, you know, we can learn magic together. And then she was just like, all right, John, I'll accept that. And, you know, and then like she smiled and walked away. And then Constantine put this weird look on his face, and I feel like there's more to that spell than he let on, but we'll find that out later on in the season. And then the Sara portion of the show, Sara, you know, because remember she was poisoned, and then she had went to this dude, you know, who had like the beard and the man bun, and then he was just like, oh, I'm the guy that told Gary to go fetch all these people. And then, you know, he gave Sara like some drink. It was supposed to cure her because she was about to die. So she drinks the drink, and then it put her into like this hallucination state where she dreamed this whole fantasy of breaking out of the facility and fighting everybody and getting back, trying to get back to the ship so she can get out of there. And then this whole thing about the guy collecting everybody's DNA. Like she came up with this whole big scenario in her mind. And then, you know, after it was over, she woke up because when she had drank that concoction that was supposed to cure her, it knocked her out and put her in that hallucinant dream. But apparently the guy, I don't know if he saw the dream or if he was in the dream with her, because after she woke up, he was just like, oh, he was like, that was quite an adventure you and I had. And he was like, you know, one would say that we're connected now. And I think that drink was supposed to connect the two of them, like somehow. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what's going on with Sarah's storyline. Like I said, apparently her and this dude are connected. I can't figure that out yet. This was the guy who apparently like created the Ava clones. So there's going to be an uncomfortable situation where like Sarah's Ava ends up meeting this dude who's technically her dad, and that's going to be uncomfortable. I actually do want to see that. I want to see the meeting between Ava and her creator. But yeah, Mick wasn't in the episode, so there's obviously going to be an episode with him on the ship, you know, with the girl doing some stuff. So yeah, that was pretty much it. And next week we're supposed to be fighting more aliens. Well, alien Amelia Earhart's supposed to come back, but other than that, like I said, it's just business as usual as far as like busting these aliens that are being trapped in time. So thank you for tuning in. So like I said, I like the episode from the Astra standpoint. Again, I'm still completely confused about everything that's going on Sara related, but the Astra aspect of it was cool. I thought the Disney cartoon thing was an awesome surprise. You know, we already know what my thumbnail is going to be for this particular video, and we'll see if they do something like that again before the season's over. So we'll stay tuned and we'll check that out. So thank you for tuning in as always, guys. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think's going on with Legends, with the whole Sara situation. Who is this guy, you know, who's trying to obtain this power? Like, are we still getting the War World? And where does John Diggle fit in? Because I heard he's supposed to pop up on Legends as well. So again, thank you for tuning in as always. And until next time, for Legends of Tomorrow, take care. And I'm out this bitch.